emptied out a jar of change just to grab a coffee or fill up at the gas station, you might want to sit tight. Because today, we're diving into a coin that's hiding in plain sight, the 2015p Bombay Hook Quarter. At first glance, just another shiny little piece of metal. But some of these have sold for as high as $1.1 million. That's right. $1.1 million. From your pocket to a potential payout that could change your life. Before you go tossing your change into the vending machine, you need to know what makes this quarter so special. Because this isn't just about collecting coins. It's about discovering hidden treasure. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll tell you exactly what to look for so you don't miss out on your own millionaire moment. The Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Delaware was honored as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters series. At face value, it was just another release from the US Mint. But let me tell you, this one had a quiet storm brewing behind its calm waters and graceful birds, designed with breathtaking detail. It features a great blue heron and an egret wading in the wetland. It's one of the most striking designs ever minted. But here's the twist, it's not the design that made this coin worth over $1 million. It's the flaws. The rarity. The minting magic, and maybe even a little mystery. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, that's what the P stands for. You'll find it just to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the obverse side, but don't just grab any 2015p quarter and think you've hit the jackpot. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a handful have what collectors call the golden trifecta: rarity, condition, and a specific error. Oh yes. And the ones that slip through the cracks are the real stars of this story. Let's start with the big one, the double die reverse. In plain English, this means the image on the back of the coin appears twice, slightly offset, due to a misalignment during the minting process. If your Bombay Hook quarter shows doubling on the birds, especially the legs or the reeds in the background, you could be looking at a rare double die error. Then there's the off-center strike. If the image isn't perfectly centered and part of the design is cut off, that's another rare variant. Some of these fetch 5 to 6 figures by themselves, but the real jackpot is the quarter that has both a double die reverse and an off-center strike, preserved in near-perfect condition. That's the one that made headlines when it sold for $1.1 million in a private auction, and you might be thinking, well, I've got some old quarters in a drawer somewhere. Good. You might want to check them tonight. Even if you've got the right year, the right mint mark, and even the right error, there's still one more gatekeeper between you and a fortune. Coin grading is the process that evaluates the condition of your coin, typically on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS67 or higher, that's mint state, is where you want to be. That $1 million Bombay Hook quarter? Graded MS68. Practically flawless. Not a scratch, no discoloration, nowhere. Most coins rattling around in our pockets don't survive that kind of scrutiny. But if you've been keeping yours in a drawer, untouched for years, you might be sitting on something spectacular. It's easy to assume that only nerdy collectors care about coins. But the reality is, big money has entered the coin game. Investors, hedge funds, and even Hollywood celebrities are now treating rare coins as alternative assets because coins like the 2015p Bombay Hook quarter are finite. You can't make more of them. And as time goes on, the best ones become even rarer. It's supply and demand. And the demand is rising fast. Just imagine. You find one of these in your old coin jar, send it off to be graded, and get an offer from a collector in New York, Hong Kong, or Dubai for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not just a hobby anymore. It's a wealth-building opportunity, and speaking of opportunities, first, do not clean it. That's the fastest way to destroy its value. Next, get it evaluated by a professional grading service. PCGS or NGC are the two big ones. Once graded, listed with high-end auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. These are where serious buyers go hunting. Where you could list it with elite coin dealers who specialize in high-value transactions. So remember, patience pays. You don't want to flip $1 million coin for $100 at your local flea market. And if you're wondering if these opportunities are still out there, cliffhanger plus conclusion, 29:00 to 30:00. Let me tell you this, just last year, someone in Ohio found a rare Bombay Hook quarter while sorting through their late father's coin collection. They had no idea it was special until they watched a video just like this. 1.2 months later, it sold for nearly $1 million. So ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your spare change? What if your $1 million moment is sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting to be discovered? Stick around, because in the next video, I'll show you 3 more quarters from the same series that could be worth even more. What if I told you that a simple quarter, the kind you might leave sitting under your car seat or forget on a convenience store counter, could be worth more than $1 million? No, this isn't a fantasy. It's a real story. And it begins with the 1995 P Washington quarter dollar. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that most people overlook. But this one? This one could make you a millionaire. So sit back. Grab your old coin jar. Because by the end of this video, you might just be rushing to check your change. The 1995 P Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia. On the surface, it's no different than any other quarter you've seen. Same George Washington on the front. Same American eagle on the back. Same edge. Same size. Same silver gray color, but appearances can be deceiving. You see, not every 1995 P quarter is worth millions. But a handful of them, just a few rare specimens, have something special. A combination of rarity, minting anomaly, and pristine condition that catapults their value to astonishing heights. One of them recently changed hands at a private auction for an incredible $1.20 million. Now that we've scratched the surface, let's dig deeper. It all comes down to a perfect storm of minting quirks, collector demand, and historical timing. Back in 1995, the US Mint was pushing out millions of quarters. Nothing new there. But in the Philadelphia Mint, a small number of quarters were struck using dies that weren't properly aligned. Some had doubling effects. Others had sharper details than usual, and then, there's the quality. The real treasure lies in coins that are not just rare, but also flawless. We're talking MS68 or higher on the Sheldon grading scale. That's near perfection in coin grading. A coin that looks like it just rolled off the mint yesterday, untouched, uncirculated, with every line on Washington's face crisp and precise. Most people who had these coins didn't know what they had. They spent them. Used them in vending machines. Dropped them in drive-through tip jars, and that brings us to the big question. Now let's talk about that small letter under the bust of Washington, the P. True. But what most people don't realize is that the Philadelphia Mint has had its share of legendary coin mistakes and oddities. From the 1943 copper pennies to the 1955 double die cents, Philly has a reputation, and in 1995, it happened again. Some of the 1995 P quarters came off the line with subtle but noticeable errors, double dies, sharp reeded edges, and unusual metal tones due to die fatigue. These errors weren't mass-produced. They slipped through quietly. Some of these valuable quarters didn't show their full worth until decades later. It wasn't until collectors started submitting them to grading companies that the true scarcity became clear, and once the first $1.2 million sale happened, the floodgates opened. Everyone started looking. Now let's say you do have a 1995 P quarter in your collection. Here's where professional grading comes in. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on their condition. An MS60 coin? It might fetch a few bucks. MS65? Better. But MS68 or MS69, that's when you enter six-figure, and sometimes seven-figure, territory. The $1 million 1995 P quarter was in such pristine condition, it looked like it had never been touched by human hands. No scratches. No smudges. No dullness. Two identical cars. One has been driven hard for 100,000 miles. The other? It's been kept in a temperature-controlled garage, polished every week, same model. Wildly different value, coins are no different, and here's a cliffhanger for you. Coming up next, how one coin sat in a cigar box for 20 years, almost thrown away, and ended up changing a man's life forever. An older gentleman in Ohio was cleaning out his attic. He came across a dusty cigar box filled with coins from the 80s and 90s. His first instinct? Toss it, but his grandson, a coin collector, convinced him to get them checked. A 1995 P quarter in perfect, untouched condition. He submitted it to a grading company. The money went to paying off his mortgage, setting up college funds for the grandkids, and buying the dream fishing cabin he always talked about. It almost ended up in the trash. So before you write off that spare change as useless, take another look. You just might be sitting on a fortune. These coins weren't pulled from circulation. That means they're still out there. In pocket change. At estate sales. In yard sales. Hiding in drawers, jars, and old purses. Start with your own stash. Look for 1995 quarters with the P Mint mark. Pay close attention to the quality. The fewer the scratches, the higher the value. Visit local coin shops. Check flea markets. Talk to family members who might have kept coins from the 90s. Because the truth is, some people find gold, others find quarters worth more than gold. Your next step is authentication and grading. Choose a reputable grading service. PCGS or NGC are the most trusted. Submit your coin. Wait for evaluation. It might cost a little upfront, but if your coin grades high, the return can be astronomical. We're talking life-changing money for something that fits in the palm of your hand. And here's a final cliffhanger: the 1995p Washington quarter may look ordinary, but in the right condition, it becomes extraordinary. A single coin, one small piece of metal, worth $1.20 million. It's not just about the money, it's about possibility. It's about the idea that hidden wealth isn't always found in stocks, real estate, or crypto. Sometimes, it's in the most unexpected places. So tonight, before you go to bed, take 10 minutes, check your quarters, because in the world of rare coins, fortunes are born in silence, and maybe, just maybe, yours is next. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more stories of hidden treasure, forgotten fortunes, and the coins that change lives. And remember, the next time, sometimes the smallest things in life hold the biggest secrets. Like the jingling coins in your change jar or the old ones lying forgotten in your dresser drawer. Imagine this: a single coin from 1998, a simple Washington quarter with a tiny P mint mark, now worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Now, before you laugh this off as another coin collector fantasy, stay with me. Because today, I'm going to take you through the incredible story of the 1998p Washington quarter that changed the game. You'll learn what makes it so valuable, how you can identify one yourself, and why it might just be sitting unnoticed in your very own home. This coin isn't just rare. It carries a hidden secret that only the sharpest eyes will spot. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that secret is. Let's start with the basics. The 1998p Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia. That's what the little P mint mark stands for, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. It looks like any ordinary quarter. Same weight. Same diameter. Same face. In 1998, over 896 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia. Yes, nearly a billion. So, how can one be worth over $1 million? Here's where we dig deeper. You see, the US Mint occasionally makes mistakes. And sometimes, those mistakes aren't just flaws, they're golden tickets. But before I reveal the specific error that makes this quarter so desirable, let's take a short journey into how coins like this go from everyday currency to auction gold. Coins are mass-produced. Hundreds of millions every year. But every now and then, a coin slips through with a misprint, a double strike, or even gets stamped on the wrong metal. These aren't just mistakes. They're anomalies. And in the world of collecting, anomalies are everything. Collectors don't just want old coins. They want rare coins. Unusual ones. Coins that shouldn't exist. It's one of those. But it's not rare just because of a misprint. It's rare because of a perfect storm of features. Fast-moving, high-pressure, constant output. Now imagine one coin among millions being struck slightly off-center, or with the reverse of a different design, or even on a different metal planchet entirely. This is where things get interesting, because one specific 1998p quarter has all of that, and more. Let me tell you a story. A man from Ohio, just like many of you, was going through his late father's coin collection. Most of it was regular stuff: wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, a couple of Eisenhower dollars. Nothing that screamed jackpot, but there, buried in the corner of a Ziploc bag, was a 1998p quarter. It looked a little odd. The rim was unusually thick on one side and thin on the other. There was doubling around Washington's eye. And under a magnifier, the eagle on the back had what collectors call a ghost image, as if it was double struck. He almost tossed it aside. Almost. Instead, he posted it on a coin forum. And within days, experts were swarming. Turns out, the coin had a triple anomaly: off-center strike, partial double die, and struck on a transitional planchet, a metal blank that wasn't meant for a quarter. He sent it for grading. The verdict? MS67 with triple error classification. Market value? $1.4 million. You heard that right. First, the mint mark. It should be a clear P on the right of Washington's ponytail. Especially in the letters Liberty, In God We Trust, and Washington's eye and ear. A true double die will show shadows or extra lines. Now flip it to the reverse side. The eagle should be crisp. But if you notice an extra outline, missing details, or what looks like a shadow of another strike, you could be looking at a jackpot. Finally, test the sound. A rare coin struck on the wrong planchet will sometimes have a slightly different ring when dropped on a hard surface. Not definitive, but worth noting. You see, this coin's value doesn't just come from one mistake. It's the combination, the holy grail of coin collecting. Triple error coins are incredibly rare. They're the unicorns of the numismatic world. And the fact that it happened on such a common coin like the 1998 P quarter makes it even more desirable. Add to that the high grade. Most circulated quarters are scuffed, scratched, and dirty. But a few, just a few, stayed untouched in rolls, bags, or boxes. They never made it into circulation. Those are the coins that grade above MS65, and those are the coins that collectors and investors drool over, because here's the truth: wealthy people aren't just buying paintings and vintage cars. They're investing in rare coins too. Why? Because their value climbs year after year, and unlike stocks, they can't go bankrupt. Get a second opinion. Visit a local coin dealer, not a pawn shop, and ask if they've seen anything like it. Send it for professional grading. The top services are PCGS and NGC. They'll authenticate, grade, and seal it for life. Auction. If your coin gets the high grade and error classification, it needs to be put in front of the right eyes. That means auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. These guys cater to serious collectors with serious money. Don't rush. A coin like this only comes once in a lifetime. Make sure you get the right price, because here's the deal. Somewhere out there, maybe in your glove box or under your couch cushion, a 1998 P quarter might be hiding. Waiting. Quietly carrying a secret that could change your life forever. The next time you get change at the gas station, don't dismiss it. Inspect it, because these tiny silver discs have bought people houses, paid off debts, built retirements, and changed legacies. And here's the cliffhanger I'll leave you with: if a 1998 P quarter can be worth $1.4 million, what about the other years most people ignore? There are other coins out there, even more valuable, even more mysterious, hiding in plain sight, and in our next video, I'm going to reveal a 2000-era quarter that's worth even more. Imagine this. You're sitting on your couch, sifting through a handful of spare change. Nothing unusual. Just the same old coins jingling in your palm. But buried in that pile is a tiny treasure. A coin you've probably handled before. A 1986 Washington quarter, but this one? It's got a P Mint mark and it's worth not 25 cents, not even $25, but $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.5 million. So, how can a simple quarter turn into a fortune? What makes the 1986 P Washington quarter so outrageously valuable? Today, we're diving deep. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the very end. Because by the time we're done, you'll never look at loose change the same way again. Let's rewind the clock to 1986. Ronald Reagan was president. Gas was 89 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was churning out quarters like there was no tomorrow. Over 551 million Washington quarters were minted that year. So you might be thinking, with that many out there, how can one possibly be rare? Here's where things start to get interesting. The bulk may be ordinary. But a few, a tiny handful, were not. These were mistakes. Flukes. Accidents that turned ordinary metal into multi-million-dollar marvels. Some of these rare quarters have slight errors. Some were struck on the wrong planchets. Some have misalignments. Others were double dies. And one specific version, a high-grade 1986 P Washington quarter in pristine condition, has shocked even seasoned collectors with its sale price, a cool $1.5 million. What makes it so unique? And more importantly, could you have one of these coins lying around in a dusty drawer? Stay with me. Because we're about to break it all down. A Washington quarter is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. On the surface, it's just base metal. No gold, no silver, no platinum, but coin collectors or numismatists look beyond the metal. They're searching for stories. Rarity. Minting errors. Exceptional grades. And this 1986p quarter checks all those boxes. The most valuable version ever sold had an astonishing grade of MS67+. Now, MS stands for Mint State. It's a grading system that ranges from 1 to 70. And to reach 67+ is like finding a classic car with 0 miles on the odometer. Combine that with the fact it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and you've got a unicorn. A coin that simply should not exist in that condition. But it does. And when it surfaced, collectors went wild. You might be wondering, why Philadelphia? Isn't that one of the most common mints? True. But ironically, that's what makes high-grade coins from Philly harder to find. Their coins were mass-produced and handled heavily. So finding a 1986p quarter that's flawless? That's like pulling a diamond out of a coal mine, and that leads us to the real cliffhanger. What specific features should you look for to know if your 1986 quarter is the millionaire kind? I'll tell you exactly what to check for right after this. First, flip it under a bright light. Look for sharpness in detail. The eagle on the reverse should be crisply struck, wings clear, talons well defined, and no weak spots around the edges. Next, check the surface. No scratches. No wear. No dings. We're talking mirror-like finish here. If it looks like it just left the mint yesterday, you may be holding a high-grade coin, but here's where the microscope comes in handy. You're looking for possible double die errors, especially on the word Liberty or In God We Trust. If the letters appear slightly doubled or shadowed, your coin just got a lot more interesting. Then, check the planchet. Was it struck on the wrong metal? If the weight feels off, or the color seems different, it could have been struck on a dime blank, or even a foreign coin planchet. These are extremely rare. Don't trust just your eyes. Get it graded. Certified coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC can verify authenticity, assign a grade, and give your coin the documentation it needs to make serious money at auction. Let's talk about the auction that turned the 1986p quarter into a millionaire. It was quiet at first. Just another online coin sale. But as soon as the high-grade 1986p appeared, the room changed, bids climbed. Fast. 10,000. 50,000. 100,000, then $250,000. The final sale price was a staggering $1.5 million. A quiet man from Pennsylvania who had kept that quarter tucked in a velvet box for over a decade. He found it while cleaning out his late father's coin jar. Imagine that. A lifetime of bills, stress, and work, and then suddenly, you're sitting on enough cash to retire early, pay off the mortgage, and still have money to spare. It's not fantasy. It happened, and it could happen again. These coins don't just live in museums or bank vaults. They live in glove compartments, old coffee cans, junk drawers, coin albums forgotten in attics. Start with your own home. Then, hit up flea markets, estate sales, garage sales, coin shows. Talk to older family members. You'd be amazed what's been stashed away for decades. Look especially for uncirculated rolls. Many of these quarters were pulled straight from the bank and stored without a second thought. Those untouched coins? They're gold mines waiting to be discovered, and if you think you're too late, think again. There are thousands of unsearched coins still out there. Just waiting. The treasure hunt isn't over. It's only just beginning. Right now, we are in a coin collecting boom. The market is hot. Collectors are paying premium prices for coins that used to be ignored. Every year, more people are waking up to the fact that these little metal discs hold big-time value. And the 1986p quarter? It's leading the charge. Join coin forums. Watch auctions online. Learn from experts. This is a community that welcomes curiosity and rewards knowledge. There's nothing stopping you from being the next person to uncover a life-changing coin. You see, this isn't just about coins. It's about second chances. About stories buried in plain sight. About discovering wealth in the places you least expected. That 1986p Washington quarter wasn't flashy. It didn't sparkle. It didn't scream millionaire. It was quiet. Ordinary. Forgotten, and maybe, just maybe, the next person to do that is you. So check your change. Open that old box. Look again. Because one quarter could change everything, and when it does, remember this moment. If you found this video inspiring or helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and share it with a friend who still thinks quarters are just spare change. Your fortune might be one flip away. Keep searching. Keep believing. And remember, your coin story is just getting started. Hey there, my friend. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at the change in your pocket? You know, those quarters you toss into the jar by the door, the ones that roll under the couch or rattle in your car's cup holder? Well, what if I told you that one of those ordinary looking coins could be worth $1.60 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.60 million pennies worth of treasure, hiding in plain sight. And we're not talking ancient Roman gold or pirate doubloons. No. We're talking about a good old American quarter. Specifically, the 1980 Washington quarter with a tiny little P mint mark on it. Stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey, one that might just change the way you see every coin you touch. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find it, and why this single quarter is turning regular Americans into millionaires. The year was 1980. The country was in transition. Reagan was on his way to the White House. Gas prices were high. Inflation was a hot topic. And the U.S. Mint? They were cranking out coins by the millions to meet demand. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 635 million Washington quarters that year. That's a sea of silver-colored coins flooding wallets, vending machines, and cash registers across the nation. But out of all those coins, only a few, very few, would ever become legends, and that's what makes this story so special. You see, buried within those hundreds of millions was a tiny handful of quarters with something different. Something rare. Something so extraordinary that collectors today are willing to pay more than the price of a mansion just to own one. So what exactly makes one of these 1980p quarters worth over $1 million? Let's dig into the details. Most coins are just coins. You spend them. You forget about them. But every once in a while, the mint makes a mistake, or something unique happens during production, and suddenly, a regular coin becomes a rarity. The $1 million 1980p Washington quarter has a few key features that separate it from the crowd. At first, the strike. These high-value quarters are known for having a sharp, proof-like finish despite being minted for circulation. That means somewhere along the line, a few planchets, those are blank coin discs, got struck with unusual pressure or extra polished dies a second. There are extremely rare varieties that involve double die outbursts. That's when the design gets imprinted twice, ever so slightly off, creating visible doubling in the date, lettering, or even Washington's eye and lips. If you've got one of those, you might be holding a six-figure jackpot in your hands. A third condition is king. If your 1980p quarter is in uncirculated, mint state condition, especially MS67 or higher, its value skyrockets. The one that recently sold for $1.6 million? Certified by a top grading service, almost flawless, because one man found his $1 million 1980p quarter in the most unexpected place. It wasn't in a coin shop. It wasn't part of an inheritance. It was sitting in a roll of quarters he got from his bank, tucked in between laundry money. Meet George, a retired mechanic from Indiana. George had always been the kind of guy who picked up pennies off the ground. His friends joked that he was tighter than a rusty bolt. But that little habit? It made him a millionaire. In 2023, George walked into his local bank and asked for $20 in quarters. He liked collecting state quarters with his grandson. As he cracked open the roll, something caught his eye. A 1980 quarter that looked shinier, cleaner, like it had never been spent. He put it aside, looked it up online, and saw some listings for rare 1980p quarters. Curious, he sent it off for grading. 2 months later, George got a call. Not only was it real, it was one of the best preserved specimens ever seen. The coin sold at auction for $1.60 million. That's the power of knowledge, and a little luck. But George isn't the only one. So where do you look for these coins? Start in your own home. Dump out that coin jar. Check your junk drawers. Go through the center console of your truck. Look for rolls of quarters from the bank or ask your local grocery store for change. Coin collectors have found valuable quarters in old cigar boxes, toolboxes, laundry baskets, coat pockets from the 80s, stints tucked away in grandparents' attics. Anywhere you find old change, you've got a chance. It's not just about the date. Look for sharp edges, brilliant surfaces, no scratches. And definitely look for doubling in the letters or numbers. Now this part is for the serious coin hunters. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. Anything above MS65 is considered investment quality. But to hit auction records, you're aiming for MS67, MS68, or even a mythical MS69. The 1980p Washington quarter that hit $1.6 million? It was flawless under 5x magnification. Clean fields, razor-sharp details, no nicks, no spots. It gleamed like a mirror. That's what elite collectors want, and then there's population. The fewer known specimens in that grade, the higher the value. Combine rarity with condition, and boom, you've got a coin that can change your life, but don't worry if you're not an expert yet. There's still time to learn, because just last year, another man made a discovery even rarer than George's quarter. And the crazy part? He almost gave it to his grandson to use in a vending machine. I'll tell you what happened right after this. And nowadays, you don't need a microscope and years of training to find treasures. There are apps that help you scan coins. Websites where you can compare photos of real rarities. And grading services like PCGS and NGC where you can submit your coin for expert analysis. If you find something that even remotely resembles what we've talked about today, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Just hold it carefully and get it graded. One of the most dangerous things you can do is polish a valuable coin. That knocks the value down by thousands, sometimes even more. The best thing you can do is preserve it and verify it.so. Let's take a moment to think about this. That you're a man who's worked hard. You know the value of every dollar. You've got a story, a family, a past, and maybe, just maybe, you're holding on to something that could write your next chapter. Maybe you've got a 1980p quarter in your sock drawer, or maybe you'll find one tomorrow. But one thing's for sure, the treasures of life don't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes they're wrapped in nickel and copper. And now, you look. You dig. You check every quarter. Because lightning doesn't just strike once, it strikes where people are paying attention. The $1 million 1980p Washington quarter isn't just a collector's dream. It's a wake-up call. A reminder that fortune favors the curious, the careful, and the coin-conscious.so. Before you go spend the change, take a second look. Because you might just be holding a piece of history, and your future. Well, I hope you remember this video when you're signing the papers on your dream home, or buying that classic car.